build me a log cabin on a mountain so high, so high.
The first work is called Te Hokioi, and Te Hokioi was this magnificent eagle, literally, and the tribe that I'm from, Waikato, was described as being like this eagle. But I'm fascinated with the way Indigenous people, fourth world people, have appropriated, if you like, technology, and especially how they have, in order to gain some sort of power, ascendancy over their enemies, have reproduced that technology in some way. So that was the thing with Te Hokioi, and Mihaia is a tank, it's a Russian tank. I always mispronounce it, BRDM2. It's a Russian tank that's obsolete now. However, it's used by over 40 countries. Every time you turn on the television in some third world nation, they seem to have one of these tanks. And I was fascinated by the way that people replace their salvation and religion and God by this sort of faith and salvation and weapons.
Oh, the cuckoo is a pretty bird, she wobbles.
Well, again, the great joy about exhibiting overseas is all of those assumptions you make about tribalism. People won't necessarily understand, so it's very good. It challenges you not to rely on the same old cliches or the same old, the same cliches that you have about Māoridom, and people bring fresh eyes to it over here as well. You know, they bring other meanings to it, which I really appreciate. Whereas at home, of course, people have seen my work for a while, and it's easy for them to draw on assumptions as well. So it's always great seeing it in a fresh context. I think beauty is a really important element in any work. It's a way of selection, it's a way of seducing an audience, and then they become interested in what the issues are. So it's strange now because I admit that when I first saw the B2, I thought it was a very beautiful object. And it's interesting how Māori people respond to the B2, or how people respond to it. The B2 is the big stealth bomber that looks like a single wing. Because like Māoridom would see that shape when I'd reproduce it and just assumed it was a whai, a stingray. And even in other parts of the Pacific, like where these things fly over islands in Guam and Micronesia, where America have bases, they call it the flying bat. So Indigenous people always try to bring that into their experience in order to handle it, you know. So I love that combination of beauty and danger. In fact, aesthetics, or that modernist sort of aesthetic, has almost become, or had become a thing of the past. And so the objects that people talk about being beautiful are like sports cars and aeroplanes. And so I suppose it would be fitting that I respond to those sort of aesthetics of these ready-made planes.